Let's review some of this vocabulary. You don't have to go in this order. Where would we like to start? Let's start at the top. Domain. What does domain represent? X or Y? It represents X. Very nice. We've been talking about our pattern. Something is less than X is less than something. Pay attention to your circles. Domain is X. So if we're looking, remember left to right. What is my leftmost number? -1. Look at your circle. It is a closed circle. Is that going to be line or no line? It's going to be a line. And then we're going to jump all the way over to the right. Here is my rightmost number. What is it? 4. What kind of circle is this? This is an open circle. Do we need a line here? No. And we're done. This is saying that all the x values on this particular parabola include -1 all the way, all the fractions and decimals and in between, all the way up to but not including 4. So when we look at range, we're going to follow the same pattern, but now we're looking at the y's. And remember, when we do range, we're looking at top to bottom. I'm sorry, I did that backwards. Least to greatest, not greatest to least. Bottom to top. So here's the bottom. What number is that on the bottom? Be careful. Pay attention to your signs. What number is that? -4. And there is no dot. We said if there is no dot and it's touching, it's going to have a line for or equal to. And then up here at the top, what is this top number? 9. And it's an open circle. Do we need a line? No, we do not. Some other review of these vocabulary, the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept on this graph? We're going to have to kind of guesstimate it a little bit. What do we think? 0, maybe about -2.5, 2.25. What's another word for zeros? Solutions, x-intercept, I heard. Root, very nice. There's that rocks that we've been talking about. How many roots, zeros, x-intercept solutions do we have on this one? We have 2. And what are they? We're going to have to estimate this, right? -0.5, comma 0. We're going to write it as a coordinate. And can we call that, what do you want to call that? 2.6? Sure, 2.7, something like that. Comma 0. The vertex, what happens at the vertex? We change direction. So here is the vertex. What is that coordinate? Remember, this is our HK, and if we were looking at a table, it would not have a buddy. So this is 1 what? 1 -4, and our axis of symmetry is always x equals, it's going to match that vertex because it's going through the vertex. X equals, what number did we go through on the x? 1. A ball placed in a machine that throws the ball in the air. A table represents some of the points of that function. Ball's distance from the ground with respect to the time since it has been thrown. Keep in mind that when we look at a table that's horizontal, we have x and y. We can put this into Desmos. We talked about that yesterday. It is asking about the range. What is range? X or y? Range is going to be y. So you can put this in Desmos and look at the graph, but we know that it's going to be least to greatest. So if we set up our pattern, what is the lowest number you see in this row right here? 0. So the ball is on the ground at that point. And then remember, it's just to the greatest. What's the greatest number you see in that row? 7.66. This actually, and if you notice, these are buddy points right here. So this happens to be that vertex. So that's actually our range. Which one? Be careful when it's wordy answer shows you 0 to 7.66. H. Okay, so don't pick F. That one doesn't have enough pieces. This one is a graph asking about domain and range. This is a lot like what we just did on our warm-up. I would really suggest, you guys, that you write your own domain and range and then look at those answer choices, because otherwise we tend to get bogged down and we're looking at the words and it's messing us all up. So pay attention to domain left to right. So on the left, what is my lowest number on the x-axis that we went through? 0, line or no line? Line. What's my highest number? 50, line or no line? Line. Okay, so then we're looking at the range, and that's bottom. What's my bottom number? 0, and it's a closed circle, and my top number is 100. So look at these answer choices really carefully. What can we automatically eliminate? Can we eliminate B and D? Those only had one number, so definitely not. Okay, so A and C, read very, very carefully. A says the domain is 0 to 100. Is that what we wrote? No, it's not. These are flip-flopped. So what is going to be a better answer choice? The C, 0 to 50 and then 0 to 100. So make sure that the words match our numbers. Again, write your own. Now this one does have some arrows, so that's going to change things a little bit. Domain, something less than X, less than something. But if I have arrows, is my domain stopping? Do I have a low number and a high number? I mean, technically it's negative infinity to positive infinity, but we're not going to see it written like that, are we? If it's all of the numbers, what do we write? We write this little R, right, which represents all real numbers. So there is not an end or a beginning. But when we do the range, something is less than Y is less than something. We do have a bottom. What is that bottom number? 5. And it has a line because if there's no dot, it's going to have a line. And it the top is just going to be positive infinity. So here we have this. We did talk about sometimes they flip it around and they write the letter first. So when you're looking at your answer choices, what are we thinking? A, the domain is wrong. C, the domain is wrong. D, the domain is wrong. So it has to be what? Has to be B. And I do want you to notice on B that they did flip that around and write the letter first. So if they write the letter first and it's a greater than and you're like not feeling that, flip it back around with the less than and the number first, and that will be fine. All right, last example. Again, write your own domain and range. Left to right. What's my leftmost number? -7. And line or no line? It's closed circle. We'll have a line. Rightmost number? 6. Line or no line? Gonna have a line. And then the range, something less than Y, less than something. And again, bottom to top. Remember, always least to greatest. So we have -4, and these were closed circles. So we're gonna have those lines all the way up to 5. You guys are really good about writing your domain and range, but sometimes we don't look at our answer choices very carefully. So, for example, letter F, these are switched, and they also don't have the lines. G, those are the right numbers, but we don't have the lines. So, it's very, very specific. H, they're flipped. They do have the lines, but they're flipped, so it has to be J. So I want you really focused on looking for those detailed pieces.